Hello and welcome to One Man's Opinion. Today I am reviewing TheaterWorks Hartford's annual Christmas production, Christmas on the Rocks, written by Judy Gold, Jenn Harris, Jeffrey Hatcher, Jacques Lamarre, Edwin Sanchez, and Matthew Wilkas, conceived and directed by Ruggiero and running through December 22nd at TheaterWorks Hartford at 233 Pearl Street in Hartford, Connecticut. Serve up some Christmas cheer by becoming a patron over on my Patreon page, where you can, for as little as $1 a month, support this channel, as well as my classic cinema podcast, One Man's Opinion, where we just finished recording an episode on the 2004 film Ray, which should be coming out soon. Thank you to all my patrons, especially my Neo and Hamilton tier patrons, and welcome to the new ones. A link will be in the description. If you are unfamiliar with Christmas on the Rocks and haven't seen my reviews of the show from previous seasons, it is a riotous send-up of Christmas classics as characters from various television specials and films have grown up and become disenchanted with the holidays and enter a local bar where a beleaguered bartender, this year played by Kline, returning for his second year, does his best to get the various characters back into the Christmas spirit. Aside from it being one of the funniest shows of the year, one of the things that brings me back to Christmas on the Rocks every year is that the show evolves. A new actor may be in the show, like Kline last year taking over as the bartender, or segments are removed and added. Gone this year is a Christmas story scene. Replacing Ralphie and his fetish for plush bunnies is a scene inspired by Home Alone called I Made My Family Disappear, written by Matthew Wilkas. Kevin McCallister, played by Harry Bouvy, who plays four of the different patrons at the bar, is now a home and business security salesman attempting to sell a security package involving familiar gags from the Home Alone films. Alas, he is depressed as he wished his family would disappear again a year ago, but this time they didn't come back like in the previous years. A year removed from the event, he ponders the moral ramifications of his actions. The new scene is pretty good, but it felt like Kline and Bouvy weren't completely settled into the dialogue yet. The visual gag elements were the parts that worked best, while the more sentimental elements needed some deeper delving into. Anyone familiar with Christmas on the Rocks will recognize the rest of the show. The next scene is Snitch, the Elf on the Shelf scene, written by Jenn Harris, where Cody, returning to play 4 roles in the show, she plays Snitch, one of Santa's elves on the shelf, who has a labor dispute with Santa after being posed in humiliating situations in their duty as an elf on the shelf. Cody is settled comfortably into the role this year, exuding the tough guy Tommy DeVito from Goodfellas attitude with a tempered quality, moving at a more methodical pace, not rushing it and letting the humor breathe a little. Next is the classic Say It Glows scene by Jeffrey Hatcher, where Hermey, the dentist elf from Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, who is out and proud, has issues with Rudolph and is now a former friend because Rudolph's ego has created a rift between the two. This is followed by My Name is Karen, which is written by Jenn Harris and Matthew Wilkas, which has a similar theme as Say It Glows, as Karen from the Frosty the Snowman cartoon is tired of Frosty's head getting too big. Both Hermey and Karen have sabotaged their former friends and must face the repercussions of their actions, whether it be attempting to get Rudolph fired or melting Frosty. These two scenes are very similar in structure and complement each other as Bouvy as Hermey and Cody as Karen push the characters to their extremes without going too overboard. Though, the night I was in attendance, an audience member who was a bit too inebriated and a bit too conservative for the show walked out during the Say It Glows scene. He was being a disruptive ass anyways, so no loss there. I wonder, regarding the construct of the show, if these two scenes should be further apart, as they are so similar in narrative. It almost makes the flow of the story feel a little redundant. This isn't an issue come the next scene, as Drumsticks and Chill by Judy Gold and Jacques Lamarre returns this year. This scene is getting better and better. Bouvy and Kline's chemistry in this scene is fantastic, as Kline's bartender attempts to boost the spirits of the stoner drummer, who happens to also be the little drummer boy from the Nativity. They are delightful to watch as they bond over Jewish Christmas songwriters and as the bartender attempts to help the drummer boy get over some of his anxieties of drumming over the holidays. Jen Cody's tour de force performance as Clara from the Nutcracker is better than ever in Still Nuts About Him by Edwin Sanchez. She looks so comfortable in the role now as the bitter ballerina who goes the way of Baby Jane while her husband, the Nutcracker, remains eternally youthful and having an affair. And comfortable in a good way, like her familiarity with the role has allowed her to take ownership and authority of her actions in a way that makes the scene flow more organically. Christmas on the Rocks closes with its classic Charlie Brown send-up, Merry Christmas Blockhead by Jacques Lamarre, where Charlie Brown, played by Bouvy, comes into the bar and laments about his fourth Snoopy dying and dealing with his failing marriage to Lucy. Hope springs eternal as the little red-haired girl, played by Cody, comes in and the bartender attempts to play matchmaker. It's still my favorite scene, with its subversive humor at the front end, touched with the tender sweetness of a happy ending at the end. If you've never been up here to Hartford for a holiday getaway, or if you're a native and never seen Christmas on the Rocks, this is one of its best years. The Home Alone scene is still a little rough around the edges, but the rest of the production is as delightful and hilarious as it's ever been, with some scenes improving with time and familiarity. But I am only one man's opinion, so be sure to leave yours in the comments below. If you'd like to see Christmas on the Rocks, I'll leave a link in the description where you can get tickets. Also in the description will be a link to my Patreon page and my Spotify page where you can support my work. You can also support me by liking and sharing this video, subscribing to the channel, and clicking the notification bell to be alerted to future reviews. My next review will be another Christmas classic, Hartford Stage's production of A Christmas Carol. Thank you for watching, and I will see you at the theater.